Michael! Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. I will return to you, but not as your ally. I shall return to you as your master, your god!
In the time before time, Lucifer, who rebelled against the throne and monarchy of God, was defeated by Archangel Michael and cast headlong into the lower realm, flaming as he fell through the ethereal sky, down to bottomless damnation, where Michael trapped him to a rock, bound by unbreakable chains. Lucifer tries to entice Michael to be his ally, and when Michael refuses, he pledges to return as his master and god. Over time, more demons joined Lucifer in hell, plotting his revenge. At the University of Turin, Laura tries to convince her professor to approve her thesis on the existence or otherwise of angels. Professor Russo refuses, saying her thesis are boring. He makes an advance at her instead, but she refuses and walks away. Later that week, it is announced that the DNA of Jesus of Nazareth will be on display to be witnessed by thousands as the Shroud of Turin, the burial cloth of Jesus, will be unveiled. Laura, who is an art historian, goes to see Father Marconi, who takes her into the exhibition of the Shroud of Christ. She is investigating the battle of the angels, as she is skeptical of its reality. Father Marconi takes her to see a gallery of artworks, especially the statue of Michael defeating Lucifer. After a few conversations with Laura, he leaves her to perform a cursory analysis of the statue. At first, Laura hears a growl at the back, then later, Liz is spotted, gaining entry into the exhibition. Laura is now sketching the head of Lucifer when Liz approaches from the back. Then all of a sudden, Lucifer's head moves to her greatest surprise. She goes to the window where she finds a crow and attempts to scare it away to no avail. A guard meets up with her, and she thinks she is safe for a moment, but when she tries to leave, the doors are suddenly locked, forcing her to take the long hallway where she witnesses Liz killing several guards in the museum. Laura takes to her heels, followed closely by Liz. She runs into the church, but with nowhere to run to anymore, she hides in the confessional, observing Liz, who attempts to steal the Shroud of Turin. Liz knocks the glass holding the shroud, then Marconi comes in asking her to stop this at once. Liz knocks Father Marconi down and stabs him with an iron cross. She notices someone at the confessional but is distracted by her gang. Laura is suddenly found and taken away. The dying Father Marconi offers his body as an instrument to Angel Michael for the purpose of defeating Lucifer. Minutes after, Michael descends into Marconi's body. Laura screams for help, then Michael appears immediately, chasing after the vehicle to stop the gang of Lucifer led by Liz. His mortal body wears out, and he gives up the chase. At an opera, Dr. Laurent claims to be able to resurrect history's most influential people from the dead using their DNA and birthing them into reality as little children, after which he auctions the children to the highest bidder. He spots Liz in the crowd and meets with her. Together, they work for a biotech firm, secretly a Lucifer-worshipping cult, which aims to free Lucifer using the Shroud of Turin that Liz just stole. Laurent sees the shroud which they plan to use to create a vessel for Lucifer through a surrogate like Laura. The cultists have already captured Laura and 3 other women, Sophia, Brenda, and Mia, to their facility. Sophia goes into panic mode as Laura tries to calm her down while they try to escape the glass box. But then some masked men come in and inject Laura with a substance. Back at the cathedral, 2 priests are reviewing the footage of Father Marconi's death when he shows up asking for the protector of the shroud, which happens to be Cardinal Vincini, who became unstable, haunted by demonic beasts and secret cults culminating to dementia. Michael angrily demands for the location of Cardinal Vincini and is told that he lives alone in St. Michael's Asylum. He also asks who Laura is and is told that she is an art student from America and a friend of Marconi. Michael drives off in Marconi's car, closely followed by same crow Laura saw earlier. Michael eventually locates Vincini's residence, and after an awkward meeting, thinking it was Marconi, Vincini discovers that it is Michael, the Hound of Heaven, in Marconi's body. Michael informs Vincini that the shroud was stolen and a woman was kidnapped also. Vincini is able to show Michael the exact spot Lucifer fell from heaven, revealing that the cultists built a church there in his honor. Michael goes off to destroy Lucifer and his worshippers. At this point, Lucifer breaks free from the sword that held him to the rock. With the DNA test complete, Laura's blood type matches and she is selected to be a host of Satan. The ladies arm themselves, and when the masked men come in, they engage them in a bid to escape but are surrounded and taken away except for Sophia. Laura is injected and stripped, after which an artificial insemination is performed on her, implanting a fertilized egg into her uterus. Having led Michael to the back entrance of the cult church, Vincini heads home while Michael makes his way to Lucifer. Laura and Brenda are dressed up and chained to a pillar, awaiting the arrival of the keeper of the gate of hell, a demonic beast who grabs them and takes them away. The gatekeeper traps the ladies in a cage and slowly begins to drop them into the pit of hell as they scream, begging him to let them out. Lucifer breaks free into the wind, heading for the ladies as they are dropped even further down the pit. Wondering where they are, from the dark arises multiple demons trying to hold them still as Lucifer approaches, gradually making his way into Brenda's mouth and possesses her body, but she dies as a result. Then he slowly makes his way into Laura's mouth, and this time it is successful, as Laura proves to be a worthy host. By morning, while the cultists await, Lucifer steps out in Laura's body for the first time since cast down from heaven. Liz pampers Laura and tells her that a new Jesus is inside of her. Laura is kept in a glass box once again. Michael continues his quest to find Lucifer in the tunnels of the demonic church. He takes out a couple of guards and dresses like one to gain entry into the facility, where he finds the shroud and quickly takes it for himself. Dr. Laurent finds Michael, who sees him as a little threat. Michael goes on to burn down their lab and eventually rescues Laura from a guard. She thinks it's Father Marconi and hugs him, but then Lucifer calls out to him and he tells Laura that he is not Marconi. Laura takes off, running away from Michael. Then he grabs her and rescues her from the guards chasing after them. While pointing a gun at him, she demands his identity. Then Michael explains himself. Laura narrates her ordeal to Michael and refuses to admit that she is pregnant. The whole facility is after them as the chase continues. A gigantic demon wrestles Michael in the tunnel, and while trying to defeat it, Laura is retrieved by Liz and her cult worshippers. Laura threatens to kill the baby inside of her before she is taken away. She is strapped to the bed inside the glass box, then Liz tells her to prepare herself for Lucifer. Michael breaks free from the chains of the demon that attacked him. He opens the pit of hell and jumps inside of it to find Lucifer. A demon attacks him on his arrival in hell. He discovers that Lucifer has escaped and his sword is missing. Lucifer's fallen angels approach Michael, threatening to imprison him in hell using Lucifer's sword. A scan shows the baby inside Laura to be healthy. Later, she discovers that her face is getting pale and overreacts. Then Liz slaps her, attempting to calm her and indoctrinate her, but Laura insists that she wants Lucifer out of her. Liz promises her freedom once the child is born, but for now, she must stay put. Back in hell, a handful of captured children find Michael. Known as the Stolen for Lucifer, they are in possession of Michael's sword, which he immediately demands for, promising that he will set them free from hell. While negotiating, the demons arrive and the children begin to escape. Lucifer's essence appears to Laura, fiddling with her fingers, then enters through her ear, promising her pain for life and a child to love. Lucifer promises to help her kill Liz, who envies her. He infests the fetus inside of Laura, completely possessing her. Lucifer takes out a nurse and escapes the box, where he smashes another nurse to death out of rage. The guards are after Laura, but she traps herself in a room where she grabs a chemical. Struggling with Lucifer, who doesn't want her to drink it, she ends up drinking the chemical just to kill the baby. Liz breaks in, then Lucifer takes over Laura. Liz is prevented from leaving the room as Lucifer grabs her and pukes on her, then later goes on complaining that the child loves Laura instead of him. Not what he expected, so he instructs Liz to kill Laura once he is born, and then he walks away. Lucifer departs Laura's body and goes back to hell to haunt Michael using the form of a demon. He laughs and mocks the trapped Archangel. He tells Michael that he is powerless without his sword. Lucifer thanks Michael for failing his mission, after which he departs from hell once more. The children come back out to meet Michael, trying to set him free, but the demons are back again. Luckily, one of them gives the sword to Michael, causing him to transform to his true form, promising the children freedom as he leaves hell. Michael goes to the lab to find Laura trapped in the box, completely possessed by Lucifer. He pushes the box away from the lab and locks himself up with Lucifer. Pregnancy water is spilled on Michael, then Lucifer commands Michael to worship him or die. He pierces a hole in his neck, tortures him to give in. But then Michael delivers a message saying that God instructs that Lucifer will not possess the baby. Instead, the baby will possess him. Lucifer gets furious, saying the child will not be his undoing, as Michael emphasizes that the child is of divine blood and more powerful than Lucifer because good is more powerful than evil. "You are not God's equal," says Michael. Lucifer smashes Michael with a chair and instructs Liz to kill the baby, but she refuses and takes him away, unaware that the birth of the child will destroy and defeat Lucifer. The baby is eventually born and taken away as Laura screams for her child. The gate of hell is open for her to fall into. Liz presents the baby to Lucifer's worshippers, thinking she is still on track with birthing Lucifer into the world. She proceeds to baptize the baby with blood, then a demon begins to slice the worshippers as sacrifice to Satan. Dr. Laurent kisses the child and is killed after that. No one can live to tell the story, says Liz, then she takes the baby away amidst the dead bodies. Michael rescues Laura from the pit of hell and she finds Liz, beats her down and grabs her baby. The child is not Lucifer, says Michael to Liz. It so happens that Lucifer didn't choose Laura, God did. He gives Laura the shroud and she drives off with the baby. With all hell about to break loose and demons on the verge of escaping from the pit of hell, Michael closes the pit but is prevented by a demon. Instead, he rigs the area and blows it up into pieces, killing everything in sight as Vincini watches the Hound of Heaven indeed. The baby is dedicated to God in the cathedral. The shroud is restored and Michael goes back to hell to rescue the children. Finally, the baby is grown and somewhere in the woods with Laura and Vincini, it turns and spots Liz in the forest whispering Lucifer. Then Lucifer's essence escapes but is absorbed by the child. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on new content. Thanks for watching.